Hello, everyone. This is Doomhammer with the 32-team franchise of the 2007-2008 season, Buccaneers Recap. So again, the NFC South was a very weak division. Again, the Tampa Bay Buccaneers with about the 4th overall pick, a very low record, not as impressive. Jeff Garcia had a fine season, and he did retire at the end of the season. As you can see, 3,200 passing yards, about 11 more touchdowns than interceptions, 60% completion. And again, I was fine playing with Jeff Garcia. He was probably one of the bright spots of the team. And there's Joey Galloway, who was my main target, with 1,100 receiving yards. The Buccaneers, for me, they've never been one of my top teams that I prefer to play as. But I expected them to do a little bit better because in 2007, the actual season, the Tampa Bay Buccaneers won the division. So I expected them to be a stronger team, but whenever I was playing with them, they just did not have a way of getting it done. So there's a lot of highlights with Galloway, again, as my main target, 55 receptions. That one there, breaking 2 tackles, getting in the end zone. Of course, there's David Boston, I know a player that's just a standard number 2 receiver, more of a possession receiver as his style. Yeah, I like that one, little bobble catch. Yeah, I mean, with this team, I was trying to figure out the best way to move on with them. I know Cadillac Williams was the running back, which we'll have some highlights from him a bit later. But the running game wasn't very strong. The passing game was mediocre. And there we go. We've got Michael Clayton. He did not have much of a year, kind of an unimpressive year, but was still able to connect with him a few times as a third, fourth receiving option. And there we have Ike Hilliard, or Hilliard. He was a pretty decent deep threat. I mean, there's that miraculous catch right there. He's one that made the roster the following year because I really enjoyed, even though he's like a 78, 79, so he's not that high in his overall, he was a nice deep threat speedster to kind of give this Tampa Bay Buccaneers team more emphasis. Now, Jeremy Stevens, a solid tight end. I relied on him a lot. As you can see, 720 receiving yards. I was surprised how few touchdowns he actually had. I thought I had more receiving touchdowns with him, but only ended up having 2 in the overall year. But again, he was a good deep threat, like those seam throws and those posts. He was just not fast enough to really make those into touchdowns. And there's Cadillac Williams, shedding tackles. He had about 825 yards, 4 rushing touchdowns. So again, a very modest season for him. He does remain the running back coming into the 2008 season. But again, I'm not looking at him as the long-term option. But his overall is good enough to keep him going. But definitely looking elsewhere. Mike Aslot, good tight end. Was able to give him a touchdown there. And I believe that was Derek Ward, number 32. And this was a kick return touchdown that they had. Again, those are always exciting and fun. I'm surprised how many kick return touchdowns I did end up having throughout the year. So those are always exciting when I pulled them off. As you can see, they were the worst in total offensive yards at 32. Did a little bit better with passing where they were 18th, and that's largely due to Jeff Garcia. The running was only 29th, so the Cadillac Williams team was not great. Points per game, they were the 31st team, scoring the second fewest points. As for yards allowed, they were about 15th, modest defense. top 10 in least passing yards, so they had a decent pass defense. But as for rushing yards, they're about 22nd in rush yards allowed. And lastly, points allowed, they were the 30th. And if you're the 30th ranked team in points allowed, you're not really going to be winning many games. So there you have it, the 5-11 Tampa Bay Buccaneers, third in the NFC South.